Having Donald Trump in this administration is like having a bad reality TV show on every single day. Our government should not be in the news and going viral every day. But let's start with some unseriousness before we get into all of the Trump stuff. So, the press office of Gavin Newsom says Homan says we should be saying thank you. And here's Homan. And let's see what Tom Homan and Laura Ingraham were saying. On the Laura Ingraham show, Tom Homan is talking about the governor of California, saying he ought to be thanking ICE and thanking President Trump for making his state safer. Every public safety threat we take off his streets makes the community safer. Even though people don't identify themselves, they wear masks. Anybody could just kidnap folks because they're not giving these people any due process. But he's saying, F due process, say thank you. So that's how we got to this. Homan says we should be saying thank you. This was a story that was trending yesterday. And like I said, our government should not be going viral every single day. It says Trump aide Homan accepted $50,000 in bribery sting operation, sources say. Justice Department shut down Homan bribery probe, so there's not going to be any investigation into this. Acting AG Bove criticized Homan probe as deep state operation. In undercover sting, Homan allegedly promised government contracts for a bribe, but we won't get to the bottom of any of that because the DOJ will protect him. All right, so this is from the press office. It says, meanwhile, back in reality, California, the fourth largest economy in the world, is running on 2/3 clean energy with 25% of all new car sales being ZEVs, not to mention billions going back into the pockets of millions of Californians. This is one of the many silly and rambling quotes from Donald Trump. It says, climate change is the greatest con job ever perpetuated on the world. If you don't get away from the green energy scam, your country is going to fail. This was on Gavin Newsom's page. It says, Trump's teleprompter broke. He told every other nation they are going to hell. He bragged about violating international law. He blamed climate change on immigrants. He complained about the wind not blowing enough and made a plug for his campaign hats. What a disgrace. I sat here and I watched 2.5 minutes of this man rambling. And I'm like, some people actually voted for this and are sitting back with pride thinking he did a good job. This is on Gavin Newsom's page, but Donald Trump actually said this basically word for word during his speech. And I use the word speech very loosely because it was just a rambling hot mess of hot vomit. This says, I'm really good at predicting things. During the campaign, they had a hat, a best-selling hat. Newsom was right about everything, and I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true. I've been right about everything. Here, Gavin Newsom is, pitching his hat or whatnot. But Donald Trump said this. He said, and I don't say that in a braggadocious way. I heard him say that, and I'm like, oh my God, my mouth was open wide as I watched this whole thing. Ron Filipkowski gives a play-by-play of what Donald Trump's speech, and like I said, I use that word loosely, what he said in this speech. It says, summary of Trump's speech to the UN today. 1, your countries all suck. 2, none of you know what you are doing. 3, the U.S. is better at everything. 4, all because of me. 5, I'm right about everything. 6, you should listen to me and do what I say. 7, and give me lots of awards. He also said some stuff about cows and, they want to kill all the cows and cows. And I'm like, oh my God. Why? How did we get here? I'm going to put this clip from NBC News at the end because I don't want people to click out of it, but you kind of have to listen to this man. Oh my God. And he looks so bad. He looks like hot garbage. He sounds like hot vomit. I grabbed this picture from Aaron Rupar. It says a page of Trump's UN speech as captured by Getty. And this person at the bottom says, wait, what is that little white circle at the top right of the binder? Oh, gross. Please tell me he did not take his effing mint out of his mouth and put it on the podium. So I made it a little bit bigger. What is that? Is that a mint? Did he take that out of his mouth and put that up there? Because if he did, he is quite gross. So I turned this around so we could see some of these things. And I love the way he made these things, some of these things capital: energy, gasoline, grocery, mortgage. He says, under my leadership, energy costs are down, gasoline prices are down. That's a lie. That's another lie. Grocery prices are down. Another lie. Mortgage rates are down. Lie, lie, lie. And inflation has been defeated. Inflation has been defeated. This dude just lies. He says in the 4 years of Biden, we had less than $1 trillion of new investment in the United States. In the 8 months since I took office, we have secured commitments for $17 trillion now pouring in from all over the world. From who? From what countries? From what countries? This dude just does nothing but just spew stuff. Call to Activism pulls a quote. He says, I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. The sitting president just humiliated America on the world stage, one of the most embarrassing moments in history. Look, I ain't vote for this dude. But the thing is, the people that did vote for him are not embarrassed. So this is Donald Trump's Lie Social post after this speech. He says, it was a great honor to speak before the United Nations. I believe the speech was very well received. It focused very much on energy, migration, immigration. I have been talking about this for a long period of time, and this forum was the absolute best from the standpoint of making these two important statements. I hope everybody gets to watch it. The teleprompter was broken and the escalator came to a sudden halt as we were ridding up the podium. But both of these events probably made the speech more interesting than it would have been otherwise. It is always an honor to speak at the United Nations, even if their equipment is somewhat faulty. Make America great again. That elevator stopping was quite funny.
You're going to push Zelensky for peace, President Trump.
President Trump, Schumer.
There should not be so much viral news about our government, but there's something every single day, and this looming shutdown is here. Now, keep in mind, the Republicans have both the House and the Senate, yet they still can't get it together and get anything passed. But here Donald Trump is blaming the Democrats. I'm going to read all that Donald Trump has to say, but this is Representative Andy Ogles. He says, Democrats just declared they'll shut down your government unless Trump opens the border, raises taxes, funds mutilation of kids, lets boys and girls locker rooms, puts dead people on Medicaid. Democrats equal the party of blackmail. If it's a fight they want, it's a fight they'll get. Even without me looking up what the Democrats said, even without it, I would put down $27 to $36 to say that this is absolutely not what the Democrats said. I will bet upwards of $52. I will bet $52 that the Democrats did not say this. But let's read what Donald Trump says. After reviewing the details of the unserious and ridiculous demands made by the minority radical left Democrats in return for their votes to keep our thriving country open, I have decided that no meeting with their congressional leaders could possibly be productive. They are threatening to shut down the government of the United States unless they can have over $1 trillion in new spending to continue free health care for illegal aliens, a monumental cost, force taxpayers to fund transgender surgery for minors, have dead people on the Medicaid rolls, allow illegal alien criminals to steal billions of dollars in American taxpayer benefits, try to force our country to again open our borders to criminals and to the world, allow men to play in women's sports, and essentially create transgender operations for everybody. These radical left views and policies is what allowed me to win the presidential election, including all 7 swing states and the popular vote in a historic landslide. There are consequences to losing elections, but based on their letter to me, the Democrats haven't figured that out yet. They are trying to eliminate the popular $50 billion Rural and Vulnerable Hospital Fund, which was passed with only Republican votes and proudly signed into law by me. The Democrats in Congress seem to have totally lost their way. They obviously have no idea what it means to put America first or to make America great again. All congressional Democrats want to do is enact radical left policies that nobody voted for. High taxes, open borders, no consequences for violent criminals, men and women's sports, taxpayer-funded transgender surgery, and much more. Because all Democrats talk about is transgender this, transgender that. That is all Democrats talk about. Few people voted for what they represent, which would lead to the destruction of America. Instead, people voted for common sense. And that's what the Republicans and your president, and this is all caps and is in quotes for whatever reason, Donald J. Trump stand for. I look forward to meeting them if they get serious about the future of our nation. We must keep the government open and legislate like true patriots rather than hold American citizens hostage, knowing that they want our now thriving country closed. I'll be happy to meet with them if they agree to the principles in this letter. They must do their job. Otherwise, it will just be another long and brutal slog through their radicalized quicksand. To the leaders of the Democrat Party, the ball is in your court. I look forward to meeting with you when you become realistic about the things that our country stands for. Do the right thing. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. And like I said, I have not looked up the letter from the Democrats to Donald J. Trump and the Republicans who have both the House of Representatives and the Senate. So I would still be willing to bet that they did not ask for everything that is outlined in this post. I think that he is a liar because that's what he has proved time and time again. Y'all join in and let me know what you think. And I'm about to share this video that NBC put together of some of the clips from his UN speech. I had to put it at the end so you wouldn't click out of it.
No more cows. We don't want cows anymore. I guess they want to kill all the cows. It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. Climate change, no matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong. They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting things, you know. They actually said during the campaign they had a hat, the best-selling hat. Trump was right about everything. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true. I've been right about everything. The carbon footprint is a hoax made up by people with evil intentions, and they're heading down a path of total destruction. So all of these countries are working so hard on the carbon footprint, which is nonsense, by the way. It's nonsense. You know, it's interesting. In the United States, we have still radicalized environmentalists, and they want the factories to stop. Everything should stop. No more cows. We don't want cows anymore. I guess they want to kill all the cows. They want to do things that are just unbelievable, and you have it too. But you know, we have a border, strong, and we have a shape, and that shape doesn't just go straight up. That shape is amorphous when it comes to the atmosphere. And if we had the most clean air, and I think we do, we have very clean air. We have the cleanest air we've had in many, many years. But the problem is that other countries, like China, which has air that's a little bit rough, it blows. And no matter what you're doing down here, the air up here tends to get very dirty because it comes in from other countries where their air isn't so clean. And the environmentalists refuse to acknowledge that. The primary effect of these brutal green energy policies has not been to help the environment, but to redistribute manufacturing and industrial activity from developed countries that follow the insane rules that are put down to polluting countries that break the rules and are making a fortune.